The ancient words rise again like smoke from forgotten altars, stirring in the winds of a nation trembling between destiny and disaster. What once sounded like myth now echoes with unnerving familiarity as the year 2026 draws near. David Wilkerson's old warnings, long whispered in dim rooms and dusty chapels, have resurfaced with a chilling clarity, matching events unfolding across America with breathtaking precision. People feel the tremor without knowing its source. The prophecy did not speak with vague poetry, but with sharpened imagery depicting turmoil, division, and a leader whose presence would split the nation in two. Many dismissed it as metaphor, yet events now resemble its very cadence. The words foretold an era when truth would fracture, when voices would rise like clashing storms, and when America would stand at the edge of decisions shaping generations. It described a struggle not of armies, but of spirits. In the prophecy, a figure emerged polarizing, controversial, impossible to ignore. A man marked by defiance and destiny, whose influence would trigger upheaval across political and spiritual landscapes. Today, many recognize shadows of this description. As 2026 approaches, these signals grow louder, like drums beneath the soil. Cracks in the nation widen, mirroring the ancient warnings of a coming shake that would test every institution built on fragile foundations of pride and certainty. The prophecy claimed America would witness a moment where deception would swirl through every corridor of power. Leaders would speak with confidence, yet their words would crumble under scrutiny, exposing motives hidden beneath patriotic masks. Wilkerson described a season when public trust would plummet so sharply that citizens would question every announcement, suspect every promise, and brace for betrayal. That atmosphere now spreads across communities like an invisible fog. He warned of a time when economic shakings would arrive unexpectedly, striking at the very systems people assumed were untouchable. Rising tensions and unpredictable markets mirror the prophecy's unsettling imagery of sudden financial storms. The prophecy even spoke of ancient spiritual forces reawakening, drawn to the chaos like vultures circling weakened prey. Ideologies would battle like opposing winds, pulling society into extremes, leaving no middle ground safe or certain. Wilkerson's words suggested that a leader would rise as both a symbol of hope and division. His influence would ignite fervent loyalty and fierce opposition, creating a national conflict unlike anything seen in modern history. Some hear echoes of this in the ongoing turbulence surrounding Donald Trump, a figure whose presence alone reshapes political discourse. The prophecy didn't name him, but many argue the alignment is too precise to ignore. According to the ancient warnings, the year 2026 would mark a turning point, a collision of past wounds and present choices. America would face consequences for long-ignored errors, forcing a reckoning that could not be delayed. The prophecy portrayed spiritual confusion sweeping the land, leaving people chasing false messengers and counterfeit truths. Every voice would claim authority, yet few would speak with substance. Noise would overwhelm wisdom. Wilkerson foresaw a season when moral foundations would shake violently, exposing corruption buried beneath institutions once considered sacred. Headlines today read like footnotes to his long-forgotten message to a nation asleep. He described cities trembling under the weight of unrest, with anger boiling in streets where frustration had been simmering for years. The unrest he predicted seems eerily aligned with the rising tension now spreading across the country. The prophecy spoke of technology advancing faster than moral understanding, leading people into traps of distraction, manipulation, and spiritual numbness. Modern life, saturated with endless content and conflicting narratives, reflects this warning clearly. There would be a battle for the nation's identity, the prophecy declared. Not a war fought with weapons, but with beliefs, loyalties, and interpretations of truth. America's current turmoil echoes this prediction with astonishing clarity. Wilkerson hinted that global forces would watch America's unraveling with cold interest, preparing to exploit weakness the moment unity faltered. Political analysts today speak of similar vulnerabilities on the international stage, he warned. That charismatic voices would rise, promising salvation through policy, power, or ideology. Yet the prophecy insisted true transformation would not come through political force, but through a deeper awakening of conscience. Amid the chaos, the prophecy foretold a strange paradox. Hope would emerge most brightly in the darkest moments. Those who felt forgotten would rise with resilience. Carrying wisdom forged through trial, Wilkerson described families dividing over ideology, friendships dissolving under the pressure of political allegiance, and communities splitting along lines drawn not by geography but by worldview. This prediction mirrors current cultural fractures. According to the ancient words, 2026 would reveal hidden corruption in high places, uncovering secrets buried for decades. Rumors and investigations circulating today ignite speculation about what may soon be exposed. The prophecy spoke of a moment when America would stand at a crossroads of identity. Would it choose humility or rebellion, unity or chaos, repentance or pride? Every news cycle feels like a step toward that defining moment. Wilkerson warned of storms, literal and symbolic, that would sweep through regions once considered stable. Disasters, he wrote, would serve as wake-up calls for people drifting toward complacency. Recent patterns reflect this unsettling message. He predicted intense political battles unlike anything seen before, clashes fueled by desperation and fear. The nation's current climate seems shaped by similar intensity, drawing comparisons to the very tone of his prophecy. Wilkerson foresaw media becoming a battleground, manipulating emotions and shaping perceptions with alarming precision. Today's information wars align disturbingly well with that vision of widespread confusion and emotional fatigue. The prophecy foretold the rise of unexpected voices. Individuals once ignored who would carry messages of clarity amid chaos. These figures would challenge long-standing power structures and inspire movements impossible to suppress. Wilkerson spoke of institutions collapsing under their own hypocrisy, their failures no longer hidden. The unraveling he predicted resembles scandals and systemic cracks now emerging across social, political, and religious landscapes. He warned that America's division would reach a boiling point, where each side viewed the other not as adversaries but as enemies. Rhetoric today grows increasingly hostile, feeding the very atmosphere he foresaw. The prophecy described a leader who would stand in the center of the storm, gathering both fierce loyalty and unwavering hostility. That duality appears vividly in modern political dynamics surrounding Trump and others like him. Wilkerson claimed that 2026 would bring a turning of tides, exposing illusions people believed for generations. What was trusted would be questioned. What was hidden would be revealed. What was broken would demand repair. He predicted a crisis that would humble the nation, breaking illusions of invincibility and forcing reflection on decades of pride. Current instability appears to be leading toward such a moment of collective confrontation. Wilkerson's prophecy warned of economic shocks that would strike with little warning, reshaping the financial landscape and shaking global markets. Analysts observing today's volatility speak in tones reminiscent of those warnings. He saw a cultural war escalating, fueled by spiritual blindness and ideological obsession. People would defend beliefs without understanding them, shouting louder than they listened, tearing at the social fabric thread by thread. The prophecy declared that ancient forces of deception would rise in influence, guiding leaders into decisions that deepen national turmoil. This spiritual dimension resonates with those who perceive a deeper battle beneath political chaos. Wilkerson envisioned America reaching a moment where people would long for certainty, yet every institution would feel unstable. That longing defines much of the present-day frustration felt across the country. He warned of deep polarization that would make compromise nearly impossible. As voices grew more extreme and reason was overshadowed by emotion, the prophecy reads like commentary on today's political gridlock. The prophecy spoke of a coming wave of disillusionment where citizens would question not only leaders but the nation's overall direction. This widespread uncertainty mirrors feelings spreading through households from coast to coast. Wilkerson foresaw a season when prophetic voices real and false would multiply, confusing the masses. Today's surge of influencers and commentators echoes this flood of competing spiritual and ideological messages. He warned of generational tension rising dramatically as younger Americans rejected the systems of their elders, demanding transformation while clashing over what that transformation should be. This tension now shapes national debate. The prophecy predicted that some would attempt to use chaos for personal power, exploiting division to advance hidden agendas. Many perceive similar patterns emerging within. Modern political maneuvering. Wilkerson described a storm of deception swirling around future elections, shaking people's faith in the democratic process. The echoes of this warning now appear almost prophetic in the ongoing controversies surrounding national leadership. He foretold a time when America would be forced to confront its deepest wounds, scars from history resurfacing with new intensity. These wounds now pierce conversations nationwide, urging the country to face unresolved truths. Wilkerson saw a season of shaking that would scatter complacency, stirring people awake with urgency. The discomfort many feel today resembles this awakening, pulling them beyond routine into reflection. The prophecy claimed that America's crisis would not end in despair, but would produce a remnant of resilience. Out of collapse would rise voices committed to restoration, unity, and renewed purpose. Wilkerson described a coming spiritual hunger, a longing for authenticity in a world drowning in edited narratives. This hunger now spreads among those weary of empty promises and shallow answers. He predicted a moment when light would pierce through national darkness, revealing a path forward not shaped by political dominance, but by collective humility. Many believe such a moment may soon be approaching. The prophecy spoke of truth returning like a long-lost king, reclaiming authority after years of distortion. People would rediscover clarity, recognizing the cost of deception and the necessity of honesty. Wilkerson warned that the journey to this restoration would not be easy. America would walk through fire before finding peace, confronting internal chaos before healing could begin. He declared that every citizen would play a role in this turning point. No voice would be insignificant. No choice would be without consequence. The destiny of the nation would rest in the hands of the people. Wilkerson foretold that those who clung to hope would become anchors in the storm, guiding others through confusion with steadiness born from conviction. Their influence would quietly shape the nation's future. The prophecy ended with a promise: though America would shake, it would not fall. Through the turbulence of 2026 and beyond, something stronger would emerge, an identity refined by truth, trial, and awakening. As the ancient warnings echo once more, people sense the weight of what lies ahead. The movements beginning now feel like tremors before a transformative shift, the opening chapter of a destiny long foretold. Whether the unfolding aligns perfectly with Wilkerson's vision or simply resonates with its imagery, one thing grows clearer: America stands on the brink of profound change. And the coming years will reveal the true cost of division. Yet within the uncertainty, a pulse of hope beats quietly, reminding the nation that prophecy need not be doom, but can be a guide. If understood, it may steer America toward renewal instead of ruin. The prophecy's chilling message is no longer a distant echo. It breathes in the atmosphere, threads through daily headlines, and whispers through cities preparing for a future both forewarned and inevitable. And as 2026 approaches, the ancient words stand like a mirror before America, reflecting not only what is coming, but what the nation has become and what it still might rise to be.